My name is Margaret, though most people just call me Mary. I live in New York City, in a small apartment that has been my home for over 40 years. I am a mother, and this is my story. A story of love, sacrifice, and heartbreak. A story of raising a son with every breath of my life, only to be told, when his happiest day arrived, that I should not be there. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss more true stories like this one. And I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Please tell me in the comments below. I enjoy reading your messages and knowing this family of listeners is spread all around the world. I was not born rich. I grew up in Brooklyn, the daughter of an immigrant family. My parents worked in a bakery, and from the age of 12, I helped with chores. Life was never easy, but I always dreamed of something better. When I met my husband, Michael, I thought my life had finally turned into a fairy tale. He was kind, gentle, and full of dreams. But dreams don't always last long. Only 7 years into our marriage, he passed away suddenly, leaving me alone with our little boy, Daniel, just 3 years old. From that day, my entire world was Daniel. I worked as a waitress during the day and as a cleaner at night. Sometimes, I walked home after midnight through the freezing New York winters, hands numb, feet swollen, but my heart warm with the thought that my boy would never go hungry. I still remember the nights when Daniel would wait by the window, his little face pressed against the glass, waiting for me to come home. And when I did, he would run into my arms and say, "Mom, you're my hero." Those words kept me alive. Years passed. Daniel grew into a fine young man. He was smart, ambitious, and determined. He studied hard, earned scholarships, and eventually got a great job in Manhattan. I remember his college graduation day. I wore my best dress, though it was old and faded, and I stood in the crowd, cheering louder than anyone else. My heart was bursting with pride. I thought, all those sleepless nights, all the tears, all the sacrifices, they were worth it. My son had made it. But life has a way of testing us, even when we think we've survived the worst. Daniel met a young woman named Rebecca. She was elegant, from a wealthy family, very different from us. At first, I was happy for him. I thought, if she loves my son, then I will love her too. But soon, I began to notice, she never wanted to visit my apartment. She spoke to me politely, but with a kind of distance, as if I was a stranger. And her parents looked at me with eyes full of judgment. I was just a simple old woman to them, not worthy of standing beside their daughter's family. When Daniel told me he was getting married, my heart filled with joy. I imagined helping him pick his suit, baking cookies like I used to, and sitting proudly at the front row, watching my boy begin his new life. But then, came the conversation that broke me. Daniel came to visit one evening. He avoided my eyes. And then he said the words I will never forget, "Mom, Rebecca's family thinks it's better if you don't attend the wedding. They say it will be less complicated that way." I felt like the earth had fallen beneath me. My son, the boy I raised with my very soul, was asking me not to be there on the most important day of his life. The morning of the wedding, I woke up early. I sat by the window, watching the streets of New York come alive. Somewhere across the city, my son was putting on his wedding suit. Guests were laughing, music was playing, flowers were blooming. And I sat alone. I made myself a cup of tea, but I couldn't drink it. My hands shook too much. I looked at the old photo album of Daniel, his first steps, his first birthday, his first day at school. And tears fell onto the pages. I prayed for his happiness, even as my own heart shattered into pieces. In the weeks that followed, Daniel called less and less. I could tell, he felt guilty. But guilt fades. Life moves on. Sometimes I wonder, will he ever truly understand what he did? Will he ever look back and realize that a mother's love is not something you can replace with wealth, status, or approval from strangers? I may not have been at his wedding, but every day of his life before that, I was there. Every scraped knee, every bedtime story, every hungry night when I went without so he could eat. I was there. To those listening, cherish your parents. No matter how poor, how simple, how old-fashioned they may seem. Remember, they carried you, fed you, and shaped you into the person you are today. One day, you might find yourself looking for them, and realize they are gone. As for me, I still live in this small apartment in New York. I still pray for my son every night. And I still keep his childhood photo by my bedside, the smile of a boy who once said, "Mom, you're my hero." Even if the world forgets me, I will always be his mother. My name is Sophia. I am 72 years old, a mother, a grandmother, and a widow. I thought I had seen every shade of life, happiness, grief, betrayal, and survival. But what happened one evening at a family dinner left me questioning everything. It was meant to be a celebration. My son had just been promoted at work, and my daughter-in-law, Aisha, insisted we host a grand family dinner. The table was filled with food, roasted chicken, biryani, kebabs, and shining glasses filled with red wine. To an outsider, it looked like a perfect evening. But in my heart, I felt an unease, a heaviness I couldn't explain. As the glasses were being placed, I noticed something strange. My drink, the one set before me, had a faint shimmer, like oil floating on water. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and leaned closer. Nobody else seemed to notice. My heart pounded. I had lived long enough to know when something was wrong. And in that moment, a thought struck me like lightning. Someone wanted me gone. I didn't panic. I didn't cry. I didn't even let my face twitch. Instead, I smiled. I reached out, pretending to adjust the plates, and in that moment, I switched my glass with Aisha's. Yes, my own daughter-in-law. Minutes passed. The conversation went on. I watched as she lifted the glass to her lips, laughing, sipping, without a care in the world. My heart beat like a drum. My palms sweated. I waited. Then it began. Aisha's laughter broke into coughing. She clutched her throat, her eyes wide with confusion and pain. "Are you all right?" my son shouted, rushing to her side. Chairs scraped, plates clattered, children cried. And I sat, silent, watching. They had meant to kill me. The poison was mine. But fate, in its cruel humor, made me their witness instead. Why? Why would my own family want me gone? The answer was simple: greed. My husband had left behind property, land, and savings. As long as I lived, it remained under my name. I had noticed the whispers, the sidelong glances, the arguments behind closed doors. And now, it was clear. They were ready to kill for it. Do you know what hurts the most? Not that someone tried to poison me. Not even that it was my daughter-in-law. No, what broke me was realizing that my own son, my flesh and blood, must have known. For no wife plots such a crime without her husband's shadow nearby. That night, Aisha was taken to the hospital. She survived, but only barely. The police came. Questions were asked. But no one dared to point fingers at me. After all, I was just the quiet old mother who sat at the end of the table. But inside me, the storm raged. Should I expose them? Should I let the world know what they had done? Or should I carry this secret to my grave, and let fate punish them in its own way? That night, I realized something terrible. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes, family is betrayal dressed in the clothes of love. They tried to poison me, and in doing so, they poisoned themselves. Because after that dinner, nothing in our family was ever the same again. Remember this. Trust is the most dangerous drink of all. My name is Margaret. I am 75 years old. I was born and raised in Texas, on a little ranch where the sun burned golden and life was simple. But my story tonight is not about the ranch. It is about betrayal, heartbreak, and the cold truth about family. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss more true stories like this one. And I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Please tell me in the comments below. I enjoy reading your messages and knowing this family of listeners is spread all around the world. A few months ago, I fell ill. My body grew weak, and before I knew it, I was admitted into the ICU. Tubes, wires, and the sound of machines became my companions. I thought my family would stand by me. I thought my children, whom I raised with love and sacrifice, would hold my hand in those lonely hours. For the first few days, they were there. They looked worried, they asked questions to the doctors. But soon, their smiles returned. Their whispers grew louder. And then came the words I never thought I would hear: "Mom will be fine. The doctors are here. We can't cancel our trip now." And just like that, they left. They left me lying in that cold hospital bed, while they boarded a plane to their vacation. I watched them walk away, their laughter echoing in the hallway. My heart broke that night. Days turned into nights. Nurses came and went. Machines beeped. I survived not because of family, but because of strangers who cared for me. I whispered prayers into the silence. And I realized, sometimes blood means nothing. 2 weeks later, they returned. Sunburned, laughing, showing me pictures of beaches and restaurants. They stood by my bed, expecting me to smile, to forget. But I could not. I saw them for who they truly were. That vacation cost them something they will never get back: my trust. You see, when you are abandoned at your weakest, you learn the truth. I learned that love is not measured by words, but by presence. And my family failed that test. I survived, not because of them, but in spite of them. And when they came back, nothing was the same. My story is a warning: cherish those who stand beside you when you are weak. Because those are the ones who truly love you. As for me, I will never look at my family the same way again. Sometimes, the greatest heartbreak is realizing you raised strangers.
Born in a small village many, many years ago. Life was simple then. We didn't have much, but we had each other. My parents worked hard, and we children learned early how precious love and kindness were. When I grew up, I married the love of my life. He wasn't rich, but his heart was bigger than the sky. We built a home together, brick by brick, dream by dream. I still remember those evenings. He would sit on the porch, playing his old harmonica, while I cooked dinner. Those were the happiest days of my life. Then came our children, 3 little angels. I poured every ounce of my strength into raising them. I made their clothes with my own hands, stayed awake during their fevers, and told them bedtime stories when the oil lamp flickered low. I wanted them to have a better life than mine. But life, my friends, doesn't always follow our plans. One winter, my husband fell sick. There was no hospital nearby, no money for medicine. Within weeks, he was gone. I became a widow before my hair had even turned gray. I still remember holding his hand in that final moment. His fingers grew cold, but I held on, hoping he might come back. After that, everything changed. I worked harder than ever, taking any job I could find, cleaning, sewing, carrying loads heavier than my own body. My only wish was to keep food on the table for my children. Many nights I went hungry so they could eat. Years passed. The children grew. I thought my sacrifices were worth it. I believed they would stand by me in my old age. But today my house is quiet. Too quiet. My children moved far away, chasing their own lives. They send money sometimes, but money cannot hug you when you are lonely. Money cannot wipe your tears when the nights feel endless. I sit by the window, watching the street. Every time a car stops outside, my heart skips a beat. Maybe, just maybe, it's one of my children coming to surprise me. But the car always leaves, and the silence returns.
Hopefully you liked the video. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more true stories.